Hi, Andrew. Could you please tell me
Astrid.
more about yourself?
Okay, well, currently I'm an amateur fighter planning to go pro. I train Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then I come home, rest, and then I have a later training sessions during the day when I train clients or I train myself. And that's pretty much it in terms of my professional martial arts career. I'm building up from there, and that's my weekly basis.
Great. And so which martial arts or combat sport do you practice?
At the moment, my foundation is Muay Thai. I'm a striker. I do during the course of the week, I do two classes wrestling, and then jiu-jitsu, and then I mix it all together. So generally, it's best for me to specialize in one thing, be really good, and have a foundation around the rest. So if you ask me if I'm a fighter, I'm a Muay Thai fighter, but I can dabble with the rest, for my future career in MMA.
Okay, so you want to have a future career to be a pro MMA fighter,
Yeah.
not pro Muay Thai.
No, correct. Yeah.
Okay, okay, thanks. And so, well, I guess your goals with this practice are that, so becoming a pro MMA fighter. And how did you encounter the martial arts and combat sport community of Montreal?
It wasn't so much a community that I encountered. It was more of like a passion since I was young. And as I grew up and I had a financial income coming towards me, I was able to explore further into the martial arts community and participate in it. I would say I ventured first into Tristar around maybe 3, 4 years ago and paying the gym fees and all this. And I kind of like build a foundation with the coaches, getting to know people and how it works and understanding the concepts of different combat sports because each coach teaches you differently and has different perspective about how to fight and how to move. So over the course, that was pretty much it. It took me a while to get into it and to get the financial support to pay for my classes, the private lessons, because my goal was to go pro, but because the thing is with group classes, you have a general idea of what's happening, but if the coaches don't address your your mistakes or your form and this and that, you develop years of bad habit, right? And that was in my case what happened. Until I could afford like private coaching, I had a lot of bad habits, and essentially you spend your money for nothing, but you have an idea. It's more of like a workout, the group classes, and as you want to progress further in your martial arts career or like the art itself, it's best to get private classes to work on the little details. It's just little things, but just got to put in the time to rebuild and remold yourself.
Mm. So you started at Tristar because are you from Montreal and then you were just looking for a gym which
No,
had a good rep, I guess?
I'm from Montreal. I initially started with Taekwondo,
Okay.
and as a kid, it was just like playful back and forth. And then I didn't enjoy it so much. The hell of aggression is more of a point-based system. So it was fancy, but I couldn't really like enjoy the impact of hitting somebody. It's a little barbaric, but I enjoy it. And so I transitioned to boxing for
Okay.
2 years, and I joined a local boxing gym at the YMCA, and it was just to get my feet wet.
Hmm.
And then when I got into college, I had a part-time job, and that helped me get into TriStar.
Okay, nice, nice. And so when we're talking about the martial arts and combat sports community of Montreal, you said that it wasn't so much a community, it was more just of a passion, but do you still identify with the community?
No, I don't. Because at the end of the day, martial arts is self-development. It's not a team sport. It's when you fight, you're expressing yourself, right? And it's you against the other person. It's basically it's a test you against them who's a better fighter. It's it's a combat sport. It's the art of death in a sense, right? To hurt the other
Mhm.
person. It's not I'm going to sprinkle coat it. But it's essentially the community is like it's good to have like you can't grow without another person in this and even though it's an individual sport, you need other people to grow. So you kind of form your own community in a sense. But I find if you associate too much with other people, how do I say this? I would find it would prevent you from going because when you're sparring, you have to have a balance of playful sparring and rough sparring. And when you're too friendly with people, sometimes I feel like it's harder to get, okay, I'm gonna hit you hard. unless they also have that mentality, you know?
Mhm.
So the community sometimes, oh, you're going too hard, man, or like it needs to be a mutual understanding where, okay, this is playful and now this is serious. This is back and forth to help you grow, you know?
Mhm.
That's why it's hard to say community. I feel like you really need to build your own community, understand you share the same mindset, and what is your goal? Is your goal for like playful activity? Okay, then we'll play, right? Is it going to go professional? Then it's a different mindset needed, right? So
Mhm.
it's a heavy term, community. It's a heavy term.
It's a yeah. Um, so would you say that there could be like different communities within martial arts and combat sports? Like there's different types of relationship, let's say among people who are just doing it for leisure, and that could be like one community, and then the pros is like another community because it's a different set of relationships where you have like this understanding that there's play, but then when you spar, you can really get aggressive.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say that. Even
Mhm.
yeah, I would say that. I would
Okay.
agree with you in that aspect.
Okay. Thanks. So now we're going to move on to more questions around the pandemic. So you said that you were training in the mornings and then Monday to Friday. But so I'm going to ask you, how often were you in contact with the community before the COVID-19 pandemic? So I guess, were you training before the
I'd say
COVID-19 pandemic?
no, I was trading during the pandemic. I can't say like where and with whom, but I was trading on a regular basis from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then go and see my clients and essentially like the people that it was we did wear masks and protection and everything. We were
Mhm.
protected and it was a mutual consent. You know, if you weren't feeling well, you're not gonna come to
Of
it was
course.
it was a smaller group during those
Yeah.
times.
But let's go back to before the pandemic. What was it like? What was your training? Um,
So before my time I was in a different place because I finished school, I was need to get a job and to save up some money for just, you know, daily stuff to buy a car, to support myself. So I was working most of the time. So my schedule was I was training at night. And the pandemic really helped me um, increase my training, like put my focus, okay, what do I do with my life? Do I want to continue working 9 to 5 or do I want to continue doing martial arts and become a pro? So it really helped me reorganize myself. Okay, I have enough money saved up for 2, 3 years. I can support myself. I can fight full time, and I can teach part time to me. You know, pay my bills, pay my training. So at the moment, the pandemic really helped me take a step back. Like, what do I want to do? Where am I in my life right now? How much time do I have? Well, how do I manage my time? You know. So that was I would say the pandemic really helped me shift my life into perspective.
okay, great. I was expecting that there would be like pre-pandemic people were training, then they stopped training with the pandemic, and then now, but it's just the opposite. But it's good. It's great.
Yeah.
I guess it was really a time to like introspect and manage your time the way you
Yeah.
really wanted to. um, so before the COVID-19 pandemic, what was your perception of martial arts and combat sports in Montreal?
Um, this federations like Muay Thai I mean kickboxing federation, Quebec, there's boxing federation. There's no MMA federation. So amateur MMA is illegal, but professional is legal. So there's a kind of it's a barrier, you know, to go from amateur to pro who we can't practice. So there's that, you know, like I don't want to I don't know much about much about politics or how Quebec government works, and I don't want to address it too much. But there should be people like there should be professional fighters representing us, if in the community, in the federal, like, you know, in the provincial level, right? There should be people that have not participated or just done amateur. If you're gonna have people oversee this, they should at least be the top tier category, not just some locals that, oh, I know you did this before, okay, you know what, jump in. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's the kind of feeling I get from the back federation of combat sports. But I see some change. I see some change. I know at first kickboxing wasn't legal. No, kickboxing was amateur kickboxing wasn't legal, and now it was last year. It's small steps, but you know we really need someone to represent us on a professional level. right?
Okay.
Would you hire a teacher
And
that never taught before university? No, right? Like it's kind of like you'd give them a trial period, examination period, and then build them up to a level. Okay, now you're qualified teacher alone, right? Same
mhm,
principle. You
mhm. Okay. Um, so before the pandemic, well, you said that since the pandemic, you were even more in contact with the community or with martial arts and combat sports
know?
in Montreal. So how was being in contact with this community beneficial to you before the pandemic?
Um, Pre-pandemic, I would generally associate with people from my gym, and I'm in the gym. This is my environment. I'll train here, and we're just interact within the gym, right? Afterwards, we had to like manage. Okay, who can I contact? I contacted not necessarily the best, but people that are more dedicated. Okay, like we'll go after class, we'll put in these extra hours, we'll do this and that. And then we both had free time on our hands, right? So we were able to manage this a bit more. And then maybe last summer I did more wrestling, boxing, and then this summer I did more Muay Thai. It was just more so I was more organized to have more free time on my hands essentially with
Hmm.
people. There was more interaction outside the gym, I would say.
Okay. And what were the benefits of practicing? What are the benefits of practicing martial arts or combat sports for you?
Me personally, I'm an angry kid for personal reasons. I grew up in this whatever environment, but yeah, it's at first it was just an outlet to express like my anger and all this, but later on as like you grow and like I would say when you're more calm, you can see like a bigger perspective, not so linear. You kind of get kind of dive into the culture of what martial arts is, not only the physical aspect, but the spiritual aspect, the philosophy of each martial arts. Like it didn't just start like this, right? It was practitioner had a view, a perception of how to be and how to fight, right? And essentially, it's you're just expressing yourself, and what you want to do is not only physically express yourself, that also spiritually in a sense, because people also
Hmm.
like don't associate the two, right? In general martial arts practice, there's meditation involved, there's more reflection, there's a spiritual aspect that you develop on your own time. And this helps you build this helps you throughout your career, right? If you're more patient, you can see things from various perspective. It applies to everything.
Hmm. Great. Yeah. And it's spiritual, but you said you kind of develop it on your own time. So it's not necessarily like um given to you, the spiritual aspect by the gym, but you kind of, as a result from training, need to develop some sort of spiritual practice.
I wouldn't say need, but like it's recommended. It's recommended. Like it's like again, what is your goal, right? I'm saying like it's not like a written goal in stone, I mean. Like what is your goal? Do you want to do it for fun as a workout to lose weight? Do you want to just learn how to defend yourself, right? But if you want to take it as a whole, like what it is, like what is martial arts, and really dive into it, like first thing you understand, like what is it? It's the combat of death, right? It's either you or the other person that's going to survive. It's to defend yourself, right? And if you can do this in a manner that's where you both live, it's ideal, right? Like
Mhm.
you're not trying to hurt anybody. You're just trying to be like, okay, if I'm in a situation, I'm confident. I can, take my chest out and be like, oh, you know what? Calmly talk to the guy. He was aggressive. Yeah, I can talk to him. I can calm him down. I've been in I did security for a long time. And oftentimes, like, what the guys, the steroid kind of type individuals or the gangsters or whatever the case is, they're angry for whatever reason. And I've been there. I understand that. And you can talk to them and not have fear, essentially.
Mhm.
Martial arts composes yourself in the sense you're not always in the flight or fight reaction. You can, okay, in a fight, when you get to a certain level, it's not action reaction. You see the bigger picture. Okay, you say, okay, I'm in this is a dangerous situation. It's more of a chess game, essentially. If you
Mhm.
can apply to real life, you can put away the fear aspect away. I got hit, whatever, right? But what am I going to do next? So it kind of takes a step back to be able to verbalize more. And then if need be, you can use action.
Mhm.
That's ideally what I would say.
Yeah, I guess I'm going a bit off track here, but it's very interesting. So I guess you're able to become more of an observer in a stressful situation, kind of like in meditation, you learn to observe your thoughts. So you could apply it to like a situation where you would get hit, instead of reacting directly or like getting lost into your thought, you're able to take a step back.
Exactly, yeah, exactly that. Exactly, just be more conscious of what's happening. It's like I'm not sure if this is for everybody, but like when you get to a certain level, I'm pretty sure pros, even some amateurs, when you're fighting, you're not just, you got hit, you accept it, you know? And it's not, you're not trying to win every battle, you're trying to win the war. So you're going to lose some parts, and some parts you're going to win. And there's like a long process of like winning and losing, and taking a step back, what did I do wrong? And all this is happening within 3 minutes or 5 minutes, right? This is a constant, like, it's a mind game within you and yourself. And it's really complex, but it's beautiful, you know?
It is. Okay. Well, I guess so through the pandemic, you were able to maintain those benefits that martial arts brought to you by continuing to train, which is great. But now if we're looking a bit more at the future, so how would you like the community or like martial arts and combat sports in Montreal to be perceived by the public in the future?
Well, perceived by public? Well, that's not sure. Like we've taken measures to make it more sport like, you know, with protection gear and that, then you can, you know, it can be more as more safe, and it can be considered more of a sport, right? And then certain precautions are taken. You don't have to consider as barbaric, you know, less blood, less, you know, cutting. Both parties are safe after an exchange of whatever happens, right? So I would say maybe having the right precautions and the right individuals in place to make sure that kids that are, you know, that want to challenge themselves or in a bad environment to express their anger and not take it out through crime or other means, right? Have more of a safe outlet, and properly regulated with individuals who have been in the sport and understand it and have that first-hand experience, and not just outsiders like, oh, this is bad, this is dangerous, and have a deeper understanding, right? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, just people with experience running the business.
Okay. You used the word barbaric a couple times, but you seem to be saying that like it looks barbaric, but then when you really talk about it, it's not really barbaric. It's like a way to express yourself. So like, do you think that the public sees it as something barbaric?
Like, I think we should not forget where we came from, right? Like, it depends how your perspective of like life and how we grew up. But at the end of the day, let's say we lose electricity, right? You know, like we lose power or whatever, we lose technology, and somebody has something you don't have, right? And maybe they see things differently. They're not educated, or they've been a flight response like mentality. Like when you're fighting a fight or, you know, reaction mentality, they've part of their life through that. They see something you have, they want to take it. They're gonna take it. What are you gonna do? Oh, I'm sorry, don't do it. You know, use your words, or call the police. You have no phone. What are you gonna do? You know, ring the bell or something. I don't know. Like, if people forget where we come from, and not, it's only like 100 years we have, you know, AC electricity. You need to know, like, traditions are important in the sense that, you know, you shouldn't let them dictate your life and help you prevent you from progressing. But it's important to know where they came from and where you come from and why they're in place, you know, like understand them before you move on to the next thing in your life. So it's important, not just because, you know, it's violence, but it also, through the chaos, you like develop peace in a sense, right? So it's important to find that and not forget that, and not be, oh, it's just violence, but like, don't forget, if you're in a situation where not too long ago people can just take things from you, or you're in that situation where you're gonna say, oh, it's violence, call the police, or you can't, when you're alone. By the time, you know, this happens, I don't know, just that it's hard to say. It's hard to talk about it without you know, this modern age.
It is. It really is, especially in our society where violence is, well, we try to eradicate violence, I guess, to be more at peace in a sense, but yeah, I won't go that much more into that actually. So we live in times of uncertainty still. how would you imagine a future for the community of martial arts and combat sports in Montreal to pursue their practices in a sustainable manner despite this uncertainty?
What do you mean we live in times of uncertainty? Can you just explain a little bit more?
Well, I mean, now we're in July 2021, and there has been this whole past year, a bit more than a year with COVID, where we've seen gyms close, reopen, close, reopen. There were a lot of social distanciation measures, which prevented a lot of people from like practicing martial arts and combat sports. So, but some practices other than martial arts and combat sports were still allowed, let's say like climbing or, you know. So I'm thinking like there's the vaccine and everything, but I'm not sure for certain that we can say that gyms will remain open without interruption in the future. I don't know if you would think the same.
I think I have an idea of what you're saying. Yeah. But you know, like it's hard to say. It's like you can't it's hard to put into words because no matter what you do, like there's always be some people that the government has a big responsibility, right? They can't just say open and then people get sick and then they're always willing to take the blame, right? So I think we should not forget like rules and regulations are there to guide us, not control us and dictate us. And we should be self-aware of like, hey, what is good for me, right? And if you make a mistake, you'll learn from that mistake, right? But that's why we have regulations or like philosophies or religion to guide us, you know, through this process, like what's right and wrong, what's just to give us an idea. And we should be self-aware enough. We're humans, we're not animals, right? That's why we're so special to be conscious. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was not practicing social distancing when I was sparring, and in certain cases in the parks and everything. It's difficult, right? But that was a decision I made, and I did my due diligence. Say, are you sick? Are you fine? Are you okay? You know, are you taking vitamins or whatever? And I associate myself with those kind of people that accepted also the consequences of whatever would happen, right? And so it's like whether the gyms close or not, I think we did pretty well for adapting. Like a lot of people started building homes in their own gym, right? They started going to, I know Montreal has a lot of outdoor track fit parts with like monkey bars and all this. People improvise, you know, and no matter what, they found a way, like, you know, they found a solution. But it's hard to say the government to do something because at the end of the day, they always have the responsibility. So it's like, it's you know, they're trying to be the most ethical. It's politics, right? You can't please everybody. You gotta be like neutral in a sense. So I wouldn't say, I don't know what the government could do or safety precautions could be put in place to, you know, make it more acceptable for martial arts to take practice. But it's a hard question. But at the end of the day, I know businesses suffer, but you do it for you. You know, you do it for you. You'll find a way. If you want to do something, you'll find a way.
Yeah. So possibly, I mean, you and I both delved a bit deeper into the practice since COVID. So I guess, regardless of like measures closing gyms or something, members of the community find ways on their own to pursue their practices, I think.
Yeah,
like, yeah, you were able to do it. Cool. Okay. So now, in recent years, in Quebec, there has been a legal debate around the official legalization of amateur fighting. So amateur competitions of non-Olympic combat sports in Quebec. So you talked about amateur MMA. I also will ask you about amateur kickboxing, Muay Thai, and Jiu-Jitsu. So what do you think about officially legalizing amateur competitions of kickboxing, Muay Thai, and Jiu-Jitsu in Montreal and Quebec?
When I think about legalizing it? Well,
officially, because it's been kind of, I mean, the kickboxing, we don't really know what's going on, but to really have like an official go.
Of course I'm always going to be for this. This is my passion, right? But again, I want to know who's saying what's what, right? In the government, who's saying like, who's this, what's okay, what's not okay? who are these people, right? Like it's hard, we put them on such a high pedestal behind a curtain. Like, who's the individual looking at these people? Like, where are their background and experience, right? Like, who do you want to run the country, right? Somebody, who has a little experience, a little bit, I don't know, an engineer. It's hard to put into words, right? But you want somebody with experience that's gonna run things, right? Or has an understanding. So maybe instead of one person, it divides into like 5 people or an organization, or has a better understanding to make precautions safe, right? And of course, maybe it's still new in Quebec. We're not gonna get it right the first time, perhaps. I don't know. We've been doing it, of course. We found ways to go, outside of Quebec, have little exhibitions or tournaments outside of Quebec, and then that's how Quebec fighters, survived or progressed. I think it's important to have one person be saying a yes or no, and more of a group of people that are in the field, experienced, and we experiment, right? We'll put these regulations in place to make it as safe as possible, but let's not forget it is combat sports, right? And both parties are accepting, yes, this is what I want to do. So it's their voluntary choice to do this. It's not like we're forcing them, oh, you have to fight, you have to do this. It's their choice, right? Mm-hmm. So having people in charge, and of course there will be bumps in the road like everything, right? And maybe progressively make it more safe, different rules, regulations to make it as safe as possible to engage or attract more people in the future. But we definitely need people responsible with experience in a professional setting, giving their opinion about this, mm-hmm. regulating this. So it's hard to say, it's hard to talk about.
So what do you think are benefits that those amateur competitions would bring? Like, what benefits could those amateur competitions, if they were officially legalized, would bring to the community?
It's like, like people live their daily life, go to school, work, yada yada, hopefully have a family and all this. But, throughout your lifetime, like, you don't need to go pro, but you have little moments of glory, right? Whether it's a soccer tournament, you win gold medal, or you win first place, your team wins first place. It's something like that. It's memories that you can tell and stories you can share. It's giving you an opportunity to live a different life, or experience a different lifestyle, or to express yourself, or try it out, or have a deeper understanding of it. It's saying, listen, you want to go to school and become an engineer? Here's a program for you, right? The same thing is giving you a chance to experience this, right? University is what? It's 150 programs, 33. No, there's a lot of programs. University, and it gives you an opportunity to choose. Try this one out. That's all it is. We're living a human experience. We want to experience things in our life, and if the opportunity is there, that provides us a safe environment to experience it. Why not?
Mm-hmm. So when you're making the comparison with university, would you say that amateur competitions are, in a sense, kind of like exams for martial arts practice?
100%, yeah. You're testing. You're testing. I don't want to say not only your skill, but like your philosophy in a sense, how you approach a situation, like your own personal philosophy. Okay, this is how I fight, right? Let's say my way of doing things is better than his way of doing things. You win, I was right. If you lose, I was wrong. You build. And if sometimes people have so much pride, the way I do it is the best, but you lose and lose and lose, and kind of you get a wake up call. Like, you know what? Maybe I should start from zero again, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lot of people run away from failure or can't accept it or just make excuses. But in this sport, you get smacked in the face, right? Like, no. You're wrong, right? There's no running away. Here's the proof. You just got knocked down or submitted or something like this, right? It humbles you. It humbles you in a sense. I think this is something this generation or people in general need, just to once in a while be humbled. Whether you're 50 years old or 30 years old, it's always good to have take a step back. Okay, no, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Or by yourself, to look at yourself in your new perspective and be like, let me refresh, let me change, let me grow a little bit.
You said this generation needs it. Do you think our generation needs it more?
No, I wouldn't say that. Listen, I don't know. I criticize a lot my little brother and sister and all your generation, but I'm pretty sure last generation said the same thing, right? At the end of the day, we're human, and it comes down to how we manage our sins, how we manage our thoughts, and are we confronting our weaknesses and strengths, right? I'm not like when I have a kid, I'd be, oh, your generation is weak, you know. Of course I'm going to say this. Maybe I don't mean it, but I'm going to say it, you know, just, you know, to tease them a little bit. But at the end of the day, we're human, you know. You can be a professional fighter as much as I can be a professional fighter. You can be an engineer as much as I can be an engineer. Like, look, I'm not only a fighter. I did 2 years of mechanical designing work, right? So I worked as a mechanical designer. I'm a fighter, but again, I'm educated too, right? And that's not the case now. Fighting is becoming expensive. Coaches are expensive, not cheap. You need to finance it. So, yeah, you won't be surprised if you see some wealthy kids, you know, from a good family that are fighters all of a sudden. You know, if you have the money, you have the right teacher, you're human, you know, you can almost do anything you want.
Mm-hmm. So you're thinking it's accessible to anyone.
Of course. Money, of course, like everything else in life, money helps, right? You get the best, teach you, you know, so.
Of course, money, but in terms of just like where you stand kind of in society, like your background or anything, you think anyone could just start training, fighting, and it's a very human thing to do.
It is, of course. It's primal, right? It's primal. No matter if you take away your shelter, you take away electricity, it gets primal real quick. It gets primal real quick. You know, it's in our genes, and it propelled us to get this far in life. I would say I wouldn't, you know, I'm not a historian or like a psychologist there, but I would like to say it propels our technology further. You know, our flight or fight mechanism to, you know, always be safe, you know, defense, or, you know, progress out of fear. I would say it propels us forward in a sense. I would like to say that in terms of technology. And I don't know, we made some big advancements after wars, right? I don't know.
It's true. Okay, well, that's all. Thank you very much, Andrew.
My pleasure.